Hi, I'm Jack Sanderlin, and I'm the Head Prefect of Auckland Grammar School in 2021. My job here today is to give you some key information about Careers Evening, which is happening at Auckland Grammar School on Tuesday, the 15th of June from 6 to 9 p.m. In the midst of new challenges, we must continue to encourage our students to remain determined, focused, and to flex for their future. To move forward successfully, they will need to flex all their dimensions, specifically the mental, social, physical, and spiritual aspects of well-being. They will also need to be well informed to make decisions about their career and transition beyond high school. This year, we have 70 presenters from across our New Zealand universities, tertiary providers and industry presenters who work in various fields. For example, not only will you hear from an academic presenter about studying law, medicine, or starting your apprenticeship, you will also hear from people who work in the industry or profession itself. The first session starts at 6:30 p.m. Also new is our Next Steps resource that will be available to all students. The rationale behind this resource is that sometimes it is hard for students to make informed decisions, so this handy guide will be able to signpost students throughout the process and give some question prompts for each session. Lastly, please ensure that you turn up in full school uniform.
My name is Akash Mudlia, and I'm the Deputy Head Prefect at Auckland Grammar School. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker this afternoon, Mr. Greg Cross. Greg Cross is an old boy of Auckland Grammar School, class of 72, and co-founder of Soul Machines. Greg is one of the original tech nomads, traveling to every major tech market in the world. He creates businesses that compete on the international stage. Most recently, Power by Proxy, a wireless charging company he co-founded, was sold to Apple in 2017. In 2016, Greg co-founded Soul Machines to build a human OS for artificial intelligence. Soul Machines is at the cutting edge of AGI research with its unique digital brain, based on the latest neuroscience and developmental psychology research. Soul Machines is reimagining what is possible in the delivery and economics of highly personalized customer experiences and specialized knowledge. Greg is the Sir John Logan Campbell Executive in Residence at the University of Auckland Business School. He was recently inducted into New Zealand's Tech Hall of Fame as a recipient of the 2019 Flying Kiwi Award, and was named as one of 3 Auckland Grammar School Augusta awardees in 2020. Please join with me as we welcome Greg Cross to the lectern.
I want to start this evening by thanking Akash for such a wonderful introduction, and I want to thank everybody for having me back again this year. It's a rare privilege to come along and talk to an amazing group of young people who are about to think about their life journey and the amazing adventure they're about to have. So there's a couple of things I'm going to do this evening. I'm going to start a little bit talking about me and some of the things I had to come to grips with as I went about thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's still an adventure. So I'm going to spend some time talking about that, and then I'm going to go on and I'm going to paint a picture as to what the world is going to look like maybe in 10 years' time. Some of the changes, some of the enormous changes that the world is going to experience as we move into the era of artificial intelligence. And it's not just important to you because it's tech, and I'm a tech guy and I love talking about tech. It's important because this is the world you guys are going to build your lives in. You're going to have families in. You're going to become a contributor to new communities and societies. So these things are going to be really, really, really important as you think about what comes next. So I wanted to start with my school motto, per angusta ad augusta. And this has really become a life motto for me. It's something that has meant something to me every single day of my life. Through challenge comes success. And, so you start this journey, and I know with St. Cuss, I think it's through love, serve, or by love, serve. These are 2 really, really amazing and strong touch points on which to start a life. For me, what this meant to me, and the reason it's always been a touch point, I learned the value of hard work. I learned the value of competition, because these are things that become really important if you want to succeed. And it doesn't really matter what endeavor or what field, but if you want to succeed, hard work and being willing to compete, even if you're competing against yourself, carving out your own niche and doing your own things, these to me are fundamental values. So that's I guess the touch point in terms of how I took what I learned at school and carried it forward into my career. I left school, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I've already said, I still have no idea what I want to be when I grow up, and I'm 40 odd years into my career at this point in time. So the different aspects, and if I look back and I think about the way in which I've approached my career and what I've done in my lifetime, there have been three things that have been important to me. So one is learning, the second is adventuring, and the third is creating. And I've got them in a sequence because that's kind of how it worked for me. But it really doesn't matter whether you do them one at a time, you do it in a different order or a different sequence, but at some point you're going to come to grips with which of these things you want to spend some time on, which of these things that you're prepared to do. Learning for me was not about a formal university education, so I had no idea what I wanted to do when I left school, so I went to university. And university wasn't for me, I didn't last very long. But I became a dedicated lifetime learner. I do what I do today because I am still inspired every morning to learn. I still challenge myself to learn new skills, new capability. And for me in particular, one of the reasons I love evenings like this is it gives me an opportunity to learn from you. So learning is absolutely critical, and it's something that, at a very fundamental level, I believe if you're not learning every day, or the point you stop learning every day, you actually start dying. And that's something that really, really scares me. So we're here for a short period of time. We need to make a difference, and learning is critical to that. The second thing didn't come really naturally to me, which was adventuring. I grew up in a school system. My parents were primary school teachers, amazing people, teachers. So my parents were primary school teachers. I got the full Auckland grammar experience at Tibbs House, 24/7 grammar experience, so a very exclusive club. But, it teaches you to live within the rules, to stay inside the lines and the boundaries. So adventuring was something I learned, or relearned a little bit later on in my life. But once again, it became an important aspect of everything that I did when I came to building my career. When I dropped out of university, one of the things, and I tried to figure out what to do next, I got really lucky in some respects, and I've always been lucky, but I always believe you make your own luck. I started to meet people, or I gave myself the opportunity to meet people who would make an amazing difference in my life. So, when you look across these things, learning, adventuring, creating, there's one common thread. You do all of that with other people. You do that with amazing people. So I met some and have been inspired by and worked with and motivated by some amazing people in my life. Bill Foreman, my first boss at Trigon Packaging. Bill was one of New Zealand's most amazing entrepreneurs of his era. I mean, Bill got me hooked on being an entrepreneur and competing in business on the international stage. That's not something that was inside of me. That's something he inspired me to do. And he created these because I took the opportunities that he gave me. I took those opportunities, I worked hard, I learnt. He created new opportunities for me. As a result of my work with Bill, I ended up moving to Boston I'd never been to America. I took the business that I'd been part of creating from New Zealand to Boston. I'd never been to America before, and here I was setting up a business on the other side of the world, literally learning every day. And I can look back on it and say they were the most amazing times. They were the most scary times, because literally, when you take that step, you don't know what you don't know, and that can either be incredibly scary and stop you doing it, or if you accept you don't know what you don't know, that can be the most fun and the biggest adventure in your whole life. So don't be scared not to do something because you don't know what's coming next. That's where the fun happens. That's where you get the opportunity to meet amazing people and do amazing things with your life. So, I've been incredibly lucky. I've lived all over the world. I work with amazing people all over the world. I've worked in entrepreneurial ventures. I've worked for a couple of corporates in my life. Through my corporate work, I got to work with Bill Gates at Microsoft. When we launched Windows 95, long time ago, I know, for all of you guys, but this was one of the most important product launches in the history of technology at the time that it happened, and in this case it happened right here in New Zealand first. So never stop adventuring, never stop learning. And for me, one of the things that I always thought I was good at, but I'm never thought of myself as a creator, somebody who could have amazing ideas and build amazing businesses. So that's something that came to me, really late in life. And the work that I did with Power by Proxy, another Auckland Grammar School old boy, a young man by the name of Fatty Mashriki, when we co-founded Power by Proxy, we went on an amazing adventure in the world of wireless power, taking amazing research out of the University of Auckland and taking it to the world. We won an industry standards battle, a global industry standards battle with our wireless charging technology. We eventually ended up selling that business to Apple, and we now carry, if you have an iPhone in your pocket, you have a little bit of technology that my team of engineers, our team of engineers built right here in Auckland, New Zealand, and they continue to do that amazing, incredible work now for Apple in their wireless charging lab here in the Viaduct in Auckland. So, you kind of get this feeling that, you really can go anywhere in your life. So that was, creating a new business opportunity, creating a new technology. And that was the first time that I'd done it based on deep technology and science, based on amazing research work that some of you may be inspired to do as a result of your next steps, as a result of your university education, whatever you decide to do next. I was just starting to come out of Power by Proxy, and I got introduced to another amazing New Zealander through a mutual friend. So a mutual friend, she was in LA. Mark, who's my co-founder at Soul Machines, both here in Auckland, but she introduced us in a very Kiwi way. We had a beer and decided we liked each other and set about creating Soul Machines. Mark is another incredibly inspiring New Zealander, an incredibly inspiring Kiwi, a guy that has been at the forefront of animation technology, working with the guys at Weta, winning Oscars, Academy Awards for his incredible work in movies like Avatar and King Kong. And that is really the genesis of the work that we've been doing at Soul Machine. So these are some of the things that have been part of my career. I never really had a plan. Never, not once can I say I had a plan. It's kind of interesting. Follow your nose, work hard, be persistent, look for great people to meet and interact with and learn from, and doors will open. You will create your own journey and your own excitement. So That's what I wanted to start with in terms of my journey, my career, any advice that I might have, any of my experience that might be useful to you as you embark on the adventure of your post-school life. So I want to take you into my world, which is going to become your world. So we live in a world today where we live in a world of artificial intelligence, a world where artificial intelligence is going to become a bigger and bigger part of your lives. Now, 2 years ago, and this is 2019, I call it the olden days now, because it is the olden days. We're not going back to 2019. I would spend a lot of my time talking to audiences about the fourth industrial revolution. So the fourth industrial revolution was the robots are coming. They're coming to steal our jobs. They're coming to rule over us. They're coming to kill us. So much so that Elon Musk was inspired to build a rocket to go and live on Mars. He was scared of the robots, I guess. So we spent a lot of time talking about the fourth industrial revolution. The third industrial revolution was the electrification of factories a long time ago, in the olden days, if you like. So we spent a lot of time talking about this in 2019, then the pandemic arrived and it changed all of our lives and everything became a lot more digital. So while we're still actually in 2021, that digital world, that industrial revolution didn't go away, it didn't stop, it actually accelerated towards us. It accelerated towards us because all of a sudden we bought more stuff online. E-commerce became a huge part of our lives. The way we shop, the habits we form and use when we shop have now changed forever as a result of that. Healthcare and education. You guys got a year of digital education, or a big part of your year last year was about digital education and education being delivered through digital formats. Digital healthcare became a thing during last year. So this whole industrial revolution didn't stop, didn't go away, it actually accelerated, and it means we're now closer to the point where the life and the careers and the opportunities that are available to you start to happen. When I left Auckland Grammar School, technology industry barely existed. The technology industry's been through 3 generations in my career, and we're going to see multiple generations in your career. So there's some really, really important aspects of this that you need to think about. And this is not about, the technology industry is not an industry for coders, for people who want to code, or gamers, people who want to, play games or live in, in digital games their whole lives. It's not just about that. I'm not a coder. If someone had told me when I was at school, you can't be in the tech industry unless you learn to code, I would not have had the amazing career and the life journey that I've had. Just would not have happened. So this will touch every aspect of our lives. So, what Soul Machines is about is making artificial intelligence more human-like. So we are literally creating digital people and bringing them to life with their own digital brain. So as I talk to you tonight, I'm being animated by my brain, autonomously animated. I pick my words, I wave my arms, my tone of voice, all of that has been done for me by my brain in this very instance. So what we're doing with digital characters and digital people for the very, very first time is giving the ability to interact back with us and exhibit human-like behaviors because they have a digital brain which is modeled on the human brain. So we look at this, so a lot of people say, well, so you did tell us the robots were coming in, they're going to steal our jobs. And so you're making all these digital people, so aren't you just making that come true? And we look at it completely different. Now, so our context for these stories that we believe about artificial intelligence and robots is science fiction. Science fiction comes out of Hollywood. Okay, now some of you may end up with careers in Hollywood, that's great. But not everything that comes out of Hollywood is real life. Not everything that comes out of Hollywood is true. We have a very, very different view of the way in which artificial intelligence will change the world. We see it as a platform for empowering humans to live their lives differently, to reprioritize some of the things that we do in our lives at this point in time. So we see this as a tremendous opportunity. In the last industrial revolution, a lot of workers were displaced. The workers that were most displaced in the last industrial revolution were kids, child slave labor in our factories. They lost their jobs. Was that a bad thing? The corporations that employed them as kids doing cheap labor in factories were then forced by the governments of the time to set up the modern education system, the public education system, to give these kids the opportunity to learn new skills, new capabilities, and take on new roles in society. So, technology is not a bad thing. It creates, over time we have proven it creates jobs, it creates opportunities in ways that we can't even imagine. So what we think about in terms of this technology is the democratization of personal experience. The way in which we can get personal service in a way that, in many respects we can't afford to today. The way we can amplify skill shortages in society. And I'm going to talk about some of these a little bit going forward. So, I'm going to jump forward nearly 10 years now, and a lot's going to happen over these next 10 years. I'm going to show you some digital people that work for real brands and real companies today. But in 10 years' time, we're going to bring to life, you're going to see something come to life we call, or often gets referred to or called, the metaverse. The metaverse is a term for digital worlds. And there are going to be lots of digital worlds in our future. Lots of digital worlds. We are going to be able to create digital people. You are going to, within the next 10 years, be going to be able to create digital twins of yourselves, or digital workers for yourself. And they can go and do things and do work and create value and deliver products and services in digital worlds. Now, it sounds like complete science fiction. And the concept, the name, the metaverse, is science fiction because it comes from a very, very old science fiction book called Snow Crash, which was written back in the 1980s, a very, very long time ago. But it gives us a peek into the future. So, this digital world of the future is going to be very, very different to the world that we live in today, and it's less than 10 years away. So here's some examples of some of the digital people we're already creating and already working with today. And we work with some of the biggest brands in the world. And so hopefully this gives you some idea as to the way in which this type of technology will create new opportunities in new industries. So Ruth is the first digital worker, first digital employee for Nestle. Nestle is a giant food ingredients business, one of the biggest food ingredient businesses in the world. Ruth is a digital cookie coach. So you want to bake chocolate chippy cookies? You can go online and you can do this from here right here in New Zealand. You go Google Toll House cookies and Ruth. So Ruth actually represents the brand, the baking brand Toll House cookies. And for the first time, Nestle are able to create a personal brand interaction delivered one at a time. You can bake chocolate chippy cookies with your kids. Ruth can remember that you've baked cookies with her before. She can work with you on the ingredients that you have in your pantry, or help you understand the ingredients you want to buy. So, this is one of the incredible examples that we're creating. Another one is with Procter & Gamble, another global consumer brand, SK-II, a luxury skincare brand. And Yumi is designed to introduce the SK-II brand to a whole new generation of consumers. Market research showed that young women growing up today don't like going into a retail store and talking about their skincare. So they needed to find a new way to engage them. So you can talk to Yumi about how you look after your skin, how to use different SK2 makeup products. And Yumi is accessible via their online store. So you can get a personal shopping experience via an online e-commerce store. Yumi speaks English. She speaks Japanese. And within the next few months, she will also speak Mandarin. You know, we did some amazing work during COVID. One of the biggest problems with COVID was so much fake news and misinformation on social media. So we were able to work with the World Health Organization to provide a digital helper, a digital healthcare professional. They called her Florence, and Florence dispelled many of the fantastical rumors that got spread about COVID during the early stages of 2020. And this was something we did. We donated our technology. We convinced Amazon, we convinced Google, two big global organizations, to work with us on this project. We did it free of charge. So, this technology will have a huge impact on the way in which we democratize technology and deliver it to the world. Another really interesting opportunity, Uber. I mean, everybody knows who Uber is. They're starting to use digital people to help with learning and training and development as they bring on new drivers. And it's a workforce that's continually changing. It's a workforce that's incredibly large, speaks many, many different languages. So these are some of the opportunities. And then we get into this whole amazing world of what does the future of digital entertainment look like. We recently announced a partnership with Carmelo Anthony. May not be a huge brand name here in New Zealand unless you're a big fan of the NBA, but Carmelo is one of the biggest stars in the NBA. He's had a long and illustrious career, won more Olympic medals playing basketball than anybody else. Carmelo is looking at the ways in which he can transition his career from being a player and a professional athlete into being a business person, a person who can contribute back to society. So we're building a digital twin of Carmelo so he can talk to his fans in China in Mandarin, so that he can help underprivileged kids learn the benefits of the training and the discipline and the hard work that goes into building any sort of career. So this is a world, this is your world. This is the world you are going to build your career in. We also work with one of the top universities in America, and the president of that university says, to me, you guys, and this is his words, you guys, as you go into a university, your careers are not going to be defined by what you study for your first 3 years of undergraduate degree. With the fourth industrial revolution, with all of this change that's going on in this world, the average person will retrain 5 times in their career. You're going to have a career like mine, a lifetime of learning, and there are going to be opportunities for you to learn and reskill. So what you choose to start with, is just a beginning, is just a first step in the way that you move forward. Thank you very much.
Mr. Greg Cross and Ms. Kate Morton, on behalf of Auckland Grammar School and St. Cuthbert's College, I would like to thank you for making yourselves available today. I know we speak on behalf of all our students today by saying that you have inspired us to plan our futures with excitement and curiosity. Your messaging around the future of the workforce, the importance of passion and mental health was invaluable.
Before we close our formal presentations this afternoon, I would like to remind our parents and students of the key information regarding our 2021 Careers Evening, which is to be held at Auckland Grammar School.
The Careers Evening is on Tuesday the 15th of June from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. A reminder to all students from Auckland Grammar and St. Cuthbert's College that if you are attending this event, you are to be in full school uniform.
We look forward to seeing you at the event. Bye, love, serve.
Per Augusta, ad Augusta.